as well. Investors have been pretty fed up, quite frankly, I think, with the way that Musk has spread his attention more so on his political leanings with Doge, with his White House advisory role, rather than Tesla. And I think when you look at the numbers we're seeing, particularly out of Europe, it's been a pretty steep decline over the last few months for Tesla. I think 49% drop in sales in April. And there are a number of factors. One does go back to, I think, the brand damage as a result of Musk's political affiliations with Doge, with the White House. But there are other, I think, fundamental issues beyond just that as well. One of those is the rising competition, in particular from BYD. And we had numbers just last week showing BYD actually sold more pure electric cars in Europe than Tesla for the first time in history in April. And you are seeing traditional automakers as well. But there's also, and I think you were reading it there at the start, the popularity of hybrid vehicles. Because of, I think, still the lack of infrastructure in Europe, and actually in many countries in the world, for pure EVs, charging, etc., there are still those who prefer the hybrid vehicle. Tesla does not have a hybrid vehicle on the market, whereas a lot of the traditional automakers do. And so there is that part of the equation as well, where Tesla can't compete in that category that is so popular in Europe.
It's something one of our earlier guests brought up around the Chinese market. Of course, this is one of the first movers when it comes to EV and to hybrid. And they're talking about the lack of loyalty shown by Chinese customers that typically would maybe have bought one brand in particular. Now they're just going after the best discount, the best innovation that's come to market. And I do wonder whether we're on course for that in Europe as well. A lot of our families used to buy, I know my family used to buy a certain Japanese name and then progress to something else in the Japanese stable. And the reality is that times are changing. We don't seem to perhaps be as attached to the same brand as we might have been in the past. And if that's coming, and if we're seeing it expressed through Tesla, then that's a problem for some of the big German autos and other big names that we've been known to drive.
Yeah, and in China, I almost sometimes see that the EV market, they're very similar to the smartphone market, where consumers are very fickle, they're changing all the time, and they're happy to switch brands, whoever has the best technology at the best price point at that point in time. And there's a chance that happens with EVs. If you think about, I think, the auto space traditionally, brand and that sort of image of these brands has been so strong. And certain brands have built up an image to be reliable, or to be affordable, or to be luxury. And all of that is now changing with the entrance of new players who are building their own brands and disrupting some of those established automakers as well. And so there will be new reputations built and new technologies, I think, that come into the fore. A lot of people are going to want more out of their car, whether it's the ability to kind of connect your smartphone easily and have that interface that's recognizable, apps and other things. And so these are going to be critical parts of the car going forward, and the sort of products that are coming to market here.
Well, on that point, I mean, you flagged a couple of things in terms of what's weighing on Tesla's shares. Obviously, the divisiveness of Elon Musk as a leader. Really interesting about the rise of hybrids and how Tesla doesn't play in this space, and perhaps hybrids have been more popular than many had expected. But what about the Tesla offering itself, the innovation coming out of Tesla? What's the strategy here, and to what extent is this slump in Tesla sales reflective of customers simply preferring the innovation coming out of the likes of BYD and some of the German and the European incumbents?
Yeah, I think the view is that Tesla hasn't innovated for a while, and it's the problem is for Tesla, the aging lineup. We've got the Model Y, the Model 3, the Model X, and they've been around for such a long time now, but there isn't this new mass market offering that Tesla's been promising for so long, something that can compete with all of these new cars that are coming to market. If you look at the way actually the Chinese companies are bringing out models, they're so frequent, and they're also addressing multiple price points and multiple different product categories. Now, that's not going to be possible for a lot of automakers, and that's why you are seeing huge losses in sort of some of these Chinese automakers in the EV space. But it's something that Tesla needs to address. It doesn't need to necessarily come out with 3 new cars a year, but it needs something new quite soon. And there are the promise that this could come this year. Right. And I think a mass market offering is going to be key now.
Yeah.